Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Learning with the Sun. And while I am driving on my way to work, while my phone is safely locked in position, I am going to teach people things that I have been learning the previous night. And we're gonna go over some awesome topics. So if you're interested in this, listen up and stay tuned. Here we go. If you want to study religion, it's very important to note, the first thing you want to note is that all religious ideas, all theologies came out of the Northern Hemisphere. Now, why is this important to note? Because when you get to the bottom of it, you're going to realize that all ideas, every idea, every story, every idea that's ever turned into a story, every idea that's ever turned into a religion, because that's what religions are. They're ideas that man created idea and put it on paper and turned it into a religion. Now, that's the very first thing to understand, okay? And when you understand that, when you can wrap your head around that, around the basis of everything coming from the Northern Hemisphere, and the idea that everything, all these religions are ideas that we have been handed down from another human. Let's be honest about it. If you want to be a researcher, the first thing you have to do is be honest with yourself. So that's the very first thing, okay? Now that we have an understanding that it all started from the Northern Hemisphere, we can start to grasp where it all comes from. Why am I saying this? Because the Northern Hemisphere is where we see all of our constellations, all of our primary constellations, all of our zodiacal constellations. We see them in the Northern Hemisphere. That's where we're able to see all of them. That's where we're able to see the North Star. Why? Why is this? And people say, well, that's proof right there. You can't see the North Star from Australia. It's proof that we're on a globe. No, it isn't. Just like the proof that a boat going over the horizon is not proof that we're on a spinning ball. Not at all. It's absolute not proof. Buy a camera and then you'll see the boat again. Okay? It's all about perspective. It's because Australia's far away. Period. It's all about perspective. And anyone with half a brain understands what perspective is all about. Perspective. That's the answer for all of it. That's the answer for the moon looking the opposite way in the southern hemisphere than the north. It's perspective. It's not because you're standing upside down on a ball and the other person's on the top of the ball and they're looking down at the earth, at the moon, so it's backwards. It's not that at all. It's perspective. You can hang a paper plate on your ceiling and draw two things on it, on a paper plate on your ceiling, and stand all corners of your room, and it's gonna look different from every angle. It's perspective, period. You can't see the North Star because of perspective, because the Earth is huge. And that's far away. Buy a flat Earth map, please. Go ahead. Buy a Gleason map on Amazon, and you'll be able to, it'll start to make sense. Things start to click. Now, the beginning of time, you have people looking at what? What would they look at? Were they watching TV? Were they watching YouTube and Netflix? No. They were looking at the sky. What's in the sky? Stars. Stars are in the sky. The sun is in the sky. The moon is in the sky. So we have a bunch of stars in the sky. We have a bunch of people with nothing to do other than look up at night. So they started making up stories based on what the stars looked like. And the stars looked like different characters and different things, and all of these stories started to emerge. Now, these stories were getting told, and people started to elaborate on the stories, and they started getting more and more enormous, and these stories started to become more and more fabulous and amazing, and all of this great stuff. And then the stories started being passed all around the world. And why do the stories all over the world, they're all the same, all the mythologies, when you start to learn. I just did a video on Ishtar, and how Ishtar which is Babylonian mythology, is basically the same thing as the story of Persephone, which is Greek mythology. And that's Ishtar going underneath the ground into Hades, and she has to remove all of her go through 7 gates and remove garments and layers and jewelry. And then when she gets down, they end up allowing her to go back up. But she represents the death of the summer and the coming of the winter and all that. In Persephone, same exact story. She gets sucked underground by Hades, and everyone's looking for her, and her mother Demeter is looking for her, and they make a deal with Zeus to bring her up, but she ate from the tree of death down there and had I believe it was a, what did she eat? A pomegranate, from a little pomegranate tree, a pomegranate seed or thing. And she had to, when she went back up, she was told she can stay up, but she has to go back down and be with Hades because she ate from that tree. Now, it's the same story. Why is it the same story? Because this stuff is in the stars. It's all in the stars. They started, you know, they wrote the stories according to what it looked like in the sky, and they started telling stories, and it's in the sky, okay? The 12 zodiacal constellations are represented all over Earth, all over everything, all over biblical texts, in the pyramid walls, in the walls of, on hieroglyphs, super old. We see the zodiacal constellations. We see the crab for Cancer, and we see Virgo the Virgin everywhere, and we see Leo the Lion. I mean, we see the stuff even in Giza. What do you think that giant statue is? It's the body of a lion and the head of Virgo the Virgin. Because in Egypt back then, and I believe this is why our timeline is not even close to the truth. All right, they have Egypt dated 4,000 to 6,000 years. I think Egypt is 12,000 years, and that's based on the zodiacal signs. Why are they building statues of Virgo the Virgin and Leo the Lion if it was not Virgo the Virgin and Leo the Lion? I mean, it doesn't really make any sense. So, you know, there are a lot of theories that maybe Egypt is much older, and you know, there's just a lot of different theories based on some really good evidence and good facts. So if you start to like learn Greek myth and learn the old myths, you can start to tie them all together, and then things start to make sense. Then you can look at our modern day life, and you can start to tie all of that myth into our modern day, because that's what the elite did. The people that control us, they tied myth literally into NASA and everything else. That's why NASA is a myth, because all of their missions are named after mythical people and mythical things. All of their machinery is named after mythical things, Greek myth and Egyptian myth, because they're trying to tie it in to myth. That way, in 1,000 years from now, NASA, the Apollo, it's all myth. You get it? It's not that complicated to understand. They play the long game. They don't play the short game, because either for 2 reasons. Either because they know that they keep their family blood, they keep it all in the family. Like I believe this. One of 2 things, okay? Or they keep it all in the family so that they know in 1,000 years their kingdom is still going to be reigning, and they're still going to be billionaires, and because that's how they run things. Or option 2 is there are some critters on this earth that do not die, and they are really in control, running the show. Now, either one of those options in my brain is doable, honestly, because I don't know what. And that's why it's funny. People ask me, do I believe in God? Absolutely. Hell yeah, I believe in God. I don't believe 2 rocks banged together and we made humans, and it just happens to be called panspermia and all of this nonsense that comes from myth. The goat myth, Zeus being fed from the goat, and all of this nonsense. It's come on. So, no, I don't believe in the church. I think the church has used religion to lie to us, and they have. I mean, that's why the Freemasons that wrote the Bible encoded truth throughout the whole Bible. That's why I find the Bible valuable and one of the best books ever, because it has over 4,000 years of encoded truth of the zodiac, of time, of the sky in the Bible. And why did they do that? They encoded that the earth is flat, that the earth is not moving, that the zodiacal signs have been spinning around us forever. Moses is Aries, Jesus is Pisces, that, you know, the man carrying the water pitcher, that is Aquarius, my friends. That is the coming age of Aquarius. That's why the Bible talks about the coming ages of things so many times, all through the whole thing. What you have to understand is it's an encode of the truth, of the natural way of the world, the natural system, the way it actually works. They knew this, okay? That's what alchemy is. Alchemy is natural. Chemistry is not even close to alchemy. And people always say that. Isn't chemistry like new, better alchemy? No, it's not. Alchemy is the breaking down and then rebonding together of something. It's a remarriage and then a rebirth, essentially, because what you get out of it is better, essentially, stronger than what you started with. Chemistry is not that at all. Chemistry is the breaking down. That's it. Chemistry is not even close. In my opinion, there's got to be more medicinal stuff on Earth through alchemy because of plants. Think about plants. We don't know shit about plants. The average person doesn't know anything about plants. I bet you didn't know that 9 out of 10 plants that you see, I mean, I live in Connecticut right now. I'm from the northern part of the United States, okay? I'm from Massachusetts. Most plants that you see outside, most of them are edible in some degree. Whether you have to cook them, or you can't eat the flower, or you can't eat the root, or whatever. There's something you can't eat, or you can eat the whole thing. But you got to understand, most plants are actually edible, and most plants have medicinal uses. Dandelions, medicinal uses, okay? All of these plants have medicinal uses. Now, when you start to learn about that, you can then start to learn how to make tinctures and start to make your own medicine. I'm creating some right now, and I will be selling it on my website, selling tinctures. And it's simple to make. I mean, I'll teach people how to make it. It's very, very simple. You take your ingredient, which would be, you know, you could use garlic, onion, dandelion, and so much stuff, tree barks. I mean, so much stuff. Just, you could Google this and how to make tinctures, and all you do is you take alcohol. It has to be, I believe, 50 proof or more. I just use the highest proof you can get. Cheap alcohol, doesn't have to be fancy. Vodka works good. You pour your vodka, you put it into a mason jar, you stuff it with your ingredients, your plants, or, you know, whatever you're using, whatever you happen to be using, whether it's herbs. Figure out what you want to target and start looking up, you know, different plants. You stuff the jar, you pour the alcohol over it, you put a lid on it, and it ferments. 6 months later, you can put that through a filter, and you have tinctures. Now, it's literally, it's a simple thing. You can look it up online. I know that it's obviously not all the steps. There's a little bit more, but it's very, very simple, and anyone can do it. All right, I'm gonna make some videos on step by step, and I'm gonna actually perform this and show people how to start making tinctures, because you use it for medicine, man. You know, all these pharmaceuticals, all this nonsense that we're taking in, we don't need it. I hate to break it. We don't need it. So start to learn about, you know, the nature. Start to learn about the environment around us and what's going on. We've been massively lied to about a lot of things. And the people that know, a lot of them, either they're being silenced, like me. I get silenced. That's why I have 100 accounts. I have to open them constantly because they're being shut down, and then I have to fight them. I have to appeal all my videos, and then they'll put the account back up, and then it gets pulled back down, and then, I mean, they eventually disappear, but it's nonstop battle. Every account I have I'm on my final warning. Like, it's crazy. I just put them up, you know. It's so insane, but that's because they don't want you to know the truth. They want you to think people like Joe Rogan are telling you the truth. And it's unfortunate because Joe Rogan does say some truth, you know, and I don't know him. I don't know him personally. Do I know, is he a liar? I mean, I don't know if he knows the truth. I'm guessing he does, because he has a lot of people on his show that know the truth. The guy's a billionaire. I hope he reads. I'm sure he understands what's going on, and he's here to deceive us. But then again, I could be wrong. He might just not understand what's going on, or have his own opinions that differ from mine. Maybe that's really what it is. I don't know. So, you know, I've made some videos calling him out, and I kind of, like, I feel bad calling anyone out because I don't know their true intention. I don't. I'm just gonna guess on him. He said a lot of things that he was pretty sturdy and strong about, and then as soon as he made billions with his stupid deal, all of a sudden he started backtracking. So that's what people find questionable, myself included. So, you know, I don't like talking crap about people, and I never really meant to talk crap about anyone, you know, because that's not the type of person that I am. I don't talk crap to people in real life, so I'm not going to do it on the internet. You know, that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to find truth. It concerns me because he kind of started his whole thing off of that, like conspiracy and trying to find truth. And it seems to me like he may have found some, and now he's deflecting people into other directions, and that's not being truthful. So I don't know, you know, but again, that's just my opinion, 100% my opinion. That's all. So people are entitled to believing in having their own opinions. That's a part of life. That's the beauty of being a human. You have the freedom to express yourself, and you have the freedom to search for truth, you know. But just remember, in the Bible, it does say that God, he hides things. God hides things, and it is the power or wisdom of kings to find it. It's the wisdom of a king to seek it out. But it is the honor of a God to hide the truth. It's something like that. I forget the exact quote. I'm gonna have to look that exact quote up, because that's a really great Bible quote, because it's just a fact, you know. I think what I'm gonna do is start putting together these drives, because it takes me 30 minutes to get to work in the morning, and I think I could put together a pretty good podcast in the car, in the vehicle. And granted, the audio is not the greatest. Maybe I can upgrade, figure out how to rig a mic up in here, but maybe this might be the best idea, because my time is short during the day. I don't have a lot of time. I'm a busy person. I'm up at 5. I get home at 6. So it's just a lot. And then by the time I finally eat and do a little workout and rest, I mean, I'm pretty beat. So maybe the vehicle thing would be a good idea. Little car talk show. But, you know, because I don't need a computer. I don't need guidance or a teleprompter like all these fakes that you see, you know, teaching things, and all these people, they use teleprompters. That's the real world. I worked in the commercial business for a little while, where I shot commercials. I worked for a company. I'm gonna leave the name out of it, but we had commercials air on the Super Bowl. We had some pretty big commercials, some good commercials. So I shot a lot of commercials. I did lighting. I was a PA first, then I did lighting. I moved my way up a little bit. I did a whole bunch of different things. I did some camera work and a lot of lighting work. I liked setting the stage, setting the set. You know, putting all the lights and getting the shadows where they want to be and everything. You have to understand, even on a commercial, there is nothing that you see on that set that wasn't put there purposefully. Everything was. If there is a lighter on that set, the lighter is telling you something. That's what TV is for. Every single thing you see, it's symbolism. It's there for a reason. There isn't a director on this earth. I don't care what you're shooting. And this is why I find it funny when people, like, you almost think some movies that are done well, there's so much symbolism in there, but you don't even notice it because it's done so well. It's just, everything goes over your head. It almost, like, you know when a movie is so good, it seems real, and you're just like, you feel the characters and you feel the movie, and because it's real. Like, some shows are like that. Like The Sopranos was like that. Like, Jesus, it was so real. Like James Gandolfini, man, it was so real. He was a soprano. I think he even thought he was towards the end of that show. Like, wasn't he getting arrested and getting into trouble because he was like acting like a soprano? And like, I don't think he was like that in real life, but he started to take the character on. It's crazy how that works. And what we have to understand is, who are we? Like, who are you? Which character are you playing? You know what I mean? Because we have been manipulated by, I mean, the media and by every little thing. What character are you? Because every little thing, every little piece of symbolism in those shows is trying to tell you something. And those characters are trying to carve you and create you and mold you into something. You know, they're trying to mold you into these different things. You have to understand what they're doing. You have to understand the symbolism that you're looking at. You have to know it's there for a reason. It's not by chance, you know, nothing is on TV. And if it's like that for commercials, we're like, when everything, I mean, I used to be told, like, I'd set the set too, and I'd be told by the director, the producer, and the director, they would always come around, and there'd be, you know, the director would usually be working with the actors, but, you know, there'd be the lighting director, or the director of photography would be, you know, the one in charge of the set, and I would have the whole thing set, and then he'd tell me, all right, now what you got to do, see that plant over there? I want you to turn it just a teeny tiny bit. You have to turn it 1/4 of an inch clockwise, because I don't like the way that one leaf looks. It's looking weird on set, so turn it. And we like that. It's that insane. You know, I mean, crazy. That's what people don't understand. It's down to the nitty gritty. Okay, and if it's done like that for a commercial, it's done like that for movies and intros and all of it. Everything they're showing you is for a reason. So if you're seeing Masonic symbolism, if you're seeing triangles, if you're seeing goat horns, if you're seeing, you know, caduceuses, if you're seeing just anything, if you're seeing crosses, if you're all of this stuff is ancient symbolism. Ancient. And it's trying to tell you something. So learn the symbolism, because then you'll learn what it's trying to tell you. You know, it's interesting. Symbolism's cool. I just watched that movie last night. I read the book, but Angels and Demons, and then the first one, whatever the heck it was called. I read that too recently. But that's a really, man, the movie Angels and Demons, Angels and Demons. I forgot with Tom Hanks, but I watched a little bit of it last night, and the symbolism in that movie right off the rip, just banging with symbolism, everything, the whole thing is crazy. There's a scene in the very beginning, and there's a monolith in the middle. I believe they're in Rome, and it's that monolithic statue in Rome, and everyone's standing around it in a circle, and it's like a dark circle of people around the monolithic structure in the middle, like an oval of people, almost. It's not a circle either. It's like an oval of people, and around them in the middle is the monolith. It was so apparent to me that it was representing, the monolithic structure was representing the male phallic, and the people around it were representing the female opening. And it's so obvious when you understand the symbolism. I mean, back in the day, ancient people, some of the first things that people worshipped were the first things that people could see and do. So we're talking about light and dark, hence Set being one of the first ancient gods was Set, sunset, because the sun went away at night and everything got dark and cold and scary. And they worshipped sex, because through the act of sex, you would have a child. It was magic. It still is magic if you think about it today. It's magical. It's amazing. And so, you know, consequently, out of these ideas, and then you have, you know, with these ideas, plus you have the stars and all of the constellations telling us stories and making characters. you get all of these ideas, theologies, religions, and everything. So that's where it all comes from. But I am at work now, so I'm going to let you all go. I just wanted to say good morning. Thank you for listening, and I hope everyone enjoyed that. Love you all.